the headlines, a major fallout over the vice chairmanship of Region 4 between the coalition sees the AFC threatening to shift its support to the PPP. Opposition activist Carol Joseph arrested. CXC buckles under pressure over flawed grades and launches an independent review team. The coalition boycotts Parliament as the debate starts on bills which will give effect to the slew of budget measures. With the support of the APNU AFC and the GPSU, nurses in Georgetown continue their protest for better pay. And in sport, a local perspective on the NBA Finals featuring Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that as the fallout with its coalition partner grows, members of the Alliance for Change, the AFC, are now talking of lending support to its political rival, the People's Progressive Party, in matters relating to Region 4. The latest fallout surrounds the APNU members taking both the chairmanship and the vice chairman position on the District 4 Regional Democratic Council, the RDC. Region 4 is the largest voting district and is also home to central government. Kurt Campbell reports.
The political disagreement between the Alliance for Change and a Partnership for National Unity began days before the actual election for the chairman and vice chairman for the Region 4 Regional Democratic Council. In exchanges in a WhatsApp group, some AFC members hinted at support for the People's Progressive Party when it was made clear that the leadership of the APNU had given instructions to its councillors not to support an AFC nominee for the vice chairman position. It was in that same WhatsApp group of APNU and AFC Region 4 councillors that the AFC stated that there was a prior agreement that the vice chairman position would go to one of the 6 AFC councillors. The AFC and a Partnership for National Unity had entered into a coalition agreement on Valentine's Day in 2015 and later went on to win the 2015 elections, but since then the two parties have had several disagreements, some of which may be responsible for the coalition now being in opposition. Following an election on Monday, APNU's Daniel Siram assumed the chairmanship and Samuel Sandy the vice chairman position, with the AFC putting up its own nominee and failing to get the support of the APNU to secure the position. This immediately prompted a resignation from David Patterson, who is the party's general secretary. Even with the fallout brewing long before Monday's election, Patterson was present at the elections and with just 6 seats on the council, he joined the AFC councillors in putting forward its own nominee in the person of Nielsen Mackenzie. The newsroom was reliably informed that when AFC failed to get the APNU's support for the vice chair position, several disappointed AFC members were immediately locked in discussions and exchanges with their APNU partners. Among the discussions which were exchanged via the WhatsApp chat, there were threats that they would lend support for the 14 PPP councillors on the RDC in future decision-making processes. Mr. Sandy was asked in the exchanges to concede the position to the AFC member, a suggestion that was met with a reminder that the leadership of the APNU has already decided on the persons for the 2 top positions. Members from both sides have said they will act in the best interest of their party. The AFC is yet to say whether it will accept Patterson's resignation. Calls to several of the executive members went unanswered on Tuesday. Region 4 RDC has a total of 35 seats. The APNU AFC has 20 of those seats, 6 of which the AFC holds. 14 went to the People's Progressive Party and Change Guyana secured 1 seat. Back in 2011, when the AFC contested the elections as an independent party, it secured 2 seats on the 35-member council for District 4 with 11,291 votes. The APNU, who also contested the elections independently, had 19 seats and the People's Progressive Party 14 seats. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
We tell you now that a 50-year-old Port Kaituma Northwest District man was arrested on Saturday last after he was caught having intercourse with a woman who died from COVID-19 complications. Leroy Chacon of Trainline appeared in the Port Kaituma Magistrates Court on Tuesday via Zoom, where he was charged with trespassing with the intent to commit a sexual offense. He was remanded to prison until Wednesday. Regional Commander Superintendent Jairam Ramlakan told Newsroom that Chacon was not tested for COVID-19 but has since been placed in a quarantine facility under police guard. He will be tested after 72 hours. Newsroom understands that Chacon was caught performing the indecent act on the corpse of the 56-year-old woman who died in September 21 after displaying COVID-19 symptoms. A COVID-19 test later confirmed that she tested positive for the disease. The woman's body was being stored at the Port Kaituma mortuary when Chacon visited the mortuary at around 7:45 and attempted to perform sex on the body. Now, the flamboyant opposition activist Carol Joseph has been arrested and questioned in relation to electoral fraud surrounding the March 2 general and regional elections. Newsroom understands that Joseph was visited by police on Tuesday and told that she was wanted for questioning. She agreed to go down to the headquarters of the Criminal Investigations Department with her attorney. Joseph is expected to be placed on bail. Joseph is known for her public protests on behalf of the APNU AFC and participated in a more than month-long national vote recount at the Arthur Chong Conference Center. Following intense pressure from regional ministers of education about major discrepancies in this year's CSEC and CAPE results, the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, on Monday announced that an independent review team will soon investigate the myriad of issues. Isnel Patwa reports.
Dr. Wayne Wesley, the registrar of CXC, last week announced that there will be no general review of the grades, but reviews will be done once it is formally requested and paid for. But a statement by CXC chairman, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, on Monday noted that a period of review and possible revisions will be done with the regulations of the council. The council has agreed to an independent review team that will begin to work shortly and present a report for discussion with relevant stakeholders. Since the release of its preliminary results on September 22nd, a number of Caribbean countries, including Guyana, reported major discrepancies with the results, but Dr. Wayne had defended CXC and said it was basically impossible for some of these discrepancies to occur, given the rigorous system in place by the Examination Council. Queen's College, Guyana's top secondary school, has signaled its intention to file an injunction at the Caribbean Court of Justice seeking to block the official declaration of the results if CXC does not review the grades. The authorities at the school also noted that they will petition Guyana's Education Ministry to remove Guyana from participating in future exams. However, Sir Hilary Beckles in his statement said each and every formally reported case will be reviewed and where remedies are required, they will be applied. According to Sir Hilary, the concerns raised on the computation and declaration of students' performances this year is important to the council, and as such, the registrar and his team have since met with regional ministers of education to discuss these concerns. Sir Hilary further explained that there might also be a policy and technical issue to be addressed, but the maintenance of public trust going forward are paramount. Meanwhile, he applauded the management of the council in the delivery of the July 2020 regional examinations despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The examinations were written under different circumstances due to the pandemic, where only school-based assessments or internal assessments in paper 1 of the exams were used to grade the students. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwo.
When the newsroom returns, the coalition boycotts Parliament as the debate starts on bills which will give effect to the slew of budget measures, and with the support of the APNU AFC and the GPSU, nurses in Georgetown continued their protests for better pay. Stay with us. This is the newsroom. With the People's Progressive Party moving to debate and pass several bills that are seen as a reversal to several policy decisions by the former APNU AFC administration, the coalition opposition took a decision to stay away from those debates. A statement from leader of the opposition, Joseph Harmon, before the scheduled sitting on Tuesday said, and I quote, "The APNU AFC will not be part of another attempt by the PPP to deceive the Guyanese people," end quote. Although it voted with the PPP government to pass the budget, the APNU AFC remains opposed to several aspects of the 2020 fiscal plan, for which it had oversight for a total of 7 months.
Today, Tuesday, 29 September 2020, the PPP intends to hear bills concerning measures which we have exhaustively debated over the last 10 days in the National Assembly. These bills belatedly seek to have debates on the matters which we already debated. But what they do now is that they extract those measures which seek to show a soft side of an extremely harsh budget for the ordinary Guyanese man and woman. While the PPP fiddles to find millions for their friends and family, the Henrys, the Singhs, and hundreds of families like theirs are denied justice. It is a shame. It is recalled that during the last week, one of our members of parliament asked a question requiring some specific answers from the Minister of Home Affairs with respect to the status of the investigation of these matters. These questions were not allowed, and therefore they still remain in the bosom of the Speaker of the National Assembly. The APNU and AFC will not be part of another attempt by the PPP to deceive the Guyanese people. In this circumstance, we believe that the interests of the Guyanese people will not be served by our attending and further debating again measures in this anti-working class budget.
And days after the passage of the National 2020 budget, the National Assembly met again on Tuesday to debate and pass several bills which are intended to give effect to measures in the 2020 emergency budget. Here's Kurt Campbell with the details.
The governing People's Progressive Party members of Parliament were left alone on Tuesday to debate and pass several bills which are seen as a reversal to the former coalition government's policy on taxation, licensing and mortgage relief, among others. Public Works Minister Juan Edgell, who moved the second reading for the bills in the House, said the PPP was looking to fix a series of draconian actions taken by the APNU-AFC while it held the seat of government. Those actions, he said, remained in place all while hurting the ordinary man.
I don't understand why they are not here today. Because every bill and every motion that will be addressed in this honorable House would basically highlight their insensitive actions and how it hurts the ordinary man.
Edgell was at the time speaking while moving the second reading of the Auctioneers Amendment Bill. Now passed and once made law, the amendment will reverse the increase from $7,000 to $40,000 in 2016 on auctioneers' license. From October 1st, 2020, auctioneers will be required to pay $23,500 for a license to carry out auctions, usually to sell vehicles. By noon on Tuesday, the PPP MPs had also debated and passed the Corporation Tax Amendment Bill, which seeks to remove the 25% corporation tax on private health care and private education. Edgell, again being the mover of the bill, said with the removal taking effect from January 1st, 2021, the measure seeks to make private education and private health care a more profitable venture and also more affordable for citizens seeking those services. It will also result in reduction in tuition fees and reduction in medical bills at private health care facilities.
This is a pro-poor, pro-people measure. Again, proving the credentials of the People's Progressive Party Civic, fulfilling its manifesto promises, and living true to its word of being pro-poor, pro-people, and ensuring affordability and access. And I ask that this bill be supported.
The House also passed the Income Tax Amendment Bill, which seeks to amend Section 21A of the Income Tax Act to provide mortgage interest relief. With the amendment in place, homeowners will now have a deduction on interest paid on mortgage loans where it doesn't exceed $30 million. The limit was previously set at $15 million by the APNU-AFC. The other bills debated and passed in keeping with the PPP's stated commitment to bring relief to citizens, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, are the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment Bill, Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill, the Tax Amendment Bill, Miscellaneous License, and the Restorative Justice Bills. These bills will see the reduction and removal of value-added tax in some instances, reduction and exemption of several categories of licensing fees, and changes to the judicial system. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
Nurses in Georgetown continued protest action on Tuesday for better working conditions, better pay, and risk allowances. The nurses were supported by the APNU-AFC members and the Guyana Public Service Union, the GPSU. Isnel Patwa reports.
The health workers in Georgetown will continue protest actions on Wednesday and Thursday. Similar protests were held last week in Linden, the West Bank and the west coast of Demerara, New Amsterdam in Region 6 and Suddy in Region 2. The workers on Tuesday saw support from the APNU-AFC and the Guyana Public Service Union GPSU. The nurses are protesting for a 50% increase in salaries, risk allowances, pension, gratuities, and other benefits. General Secretary Acting of GPSU Kempton Alexander told the newsroom that the healthcare workers have been putting themselves and families at risk every day since the COVID-19 health crisis began in March. Alexander said so far there has been no move by the government to address this issue.
One, we are at risk and there is no allowance to help us and our family, and of course this since this pandemic occurred, it has cost us more than what we would have been spending normally. One, we have working conditions issues that, things that are not readily available to us, and there are many other problems that we are being experiencing.
Meanwhile, APNU AFC Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald said the show of support to the health workers is in recognition of the hard work and sacrifice they make.
So we are here today to give support to our healthcare workers, because we recognize that our lives are in the hands of the healthcare workers. And if they are not provided with the materials, the resources to ensure their safety, then you could very well imagine what is happening to us, or what would happen to us, the people of Guyana. And so our demonstration here with the nurses, with other healthcare workers, is just a matter of showing solidarity with them, because we believe nurses deserve better, or our healthcare workers deserve better.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has made it clear that it will take action against the protesting nurses. A memo issued to all regional health officers by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Colette Adams, threatened to take action against the workers who participated in unauthorized protests across the country. The 2020 budget, which was passed in the National Assembly last Friday, caters for $150 million to pay risk allowances to healthcare workers. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwo.
Still ahead on the newsroom, a Guyanese businessman has teamed up with a UK engineer to provide innovative, timely, safe and durable housing and office solutions. This is the newsroom. Guyanese businessman Ray Rahaman has teamed up with UK engineer John Wiseman to provide innovative, timely, safe and durable housing and office solutions. The fully customizable units will take less time to construct and can be used temporarily, but is also built with materials that can last over 20 years. Newsroom's Isnella Patwa spoke with Rahaman and Wiseman.
The accommodation company Snapins Cabins was launched a few weeks ago, but the response so far has been great. One of the directors, Ray Rahaman, told the newsroom that he saw the need for housing and accommodation in Guyana and took the step to provide high-standard units that can be constructed for just about anything, anywhere, and within a few days. The businessman explained that the target is mainly the mining and oil and gas industries, but units can also be used in the health sector as COVID-19 isolation and quarantine units, the entertainment industry, and as office spaces.
Because we see the need in this country for housing and accommodation, and we also observed how many companies within the oil and gas sector are importing cabins and housing units and offices such as we are showing you here. Also, because we've noticed that the new government wants to put in 5,000 units in 1 year of housing, we are going to help them. As this company that we're dealing with, we can bring in these prefab houses and have them erected in 3 days. 5 men could put up an entire house, 600 square feet in 3 days. We are going to showcase that, and maybe this is going to be part of the solution to the Guyana housing problem.
United Kingdom engineer John Wiseman, who is also a director with the company, has years of experience building these units all around the world.
I've worked in many countries, Southeast Asia, Australia, Middle East, mainly on the construction side, where these units are used for either site offices or for accommodation for workers. So it's a general standard type of module unit. We've imported 2 standard units, the bathroom unit, which is for accommodation modules, and also office units. They're all based on a 20-foot by 8-foot module. They can be joined together to make larger spaces. The units can also be stacked, so to 2 to 3 high. So you can make any configuration. Yeah, we've already got some going into the interior for the mining industry. They like the idea of obviously having air-conditioned units and proper sanitation in the interior. Obviously that will help with the control of malaria, having these sort of accommodation modules. We have plans to bring in 600 square foot units. They are more modular housing, insulated housing. They're quick build. You can build them in 3 days on top of a concrete slab. They would be 3 bedrooms, which would suit a family of 2 to 3, along with kitchen and lounge area. So yeah, they're a rapid build system, long lifespan. They're all galvanized, they're powder coated, easy maintenance. They're a very solid system which has been used around the world in a lot of locations for temporary and permanent housing.
This is a standard self-contained module unit which has air conditioning and lighting installed with a bathroom, a shower, sink and toilet.
All these units are insulated with 3-inch insulation, so they don't get hot, so they know that it's easy to control the heat. The office units again can be joined together, the walls can be taken down, units joined into larger units, so there is no sort of limit on the amount you can join together, which makes them very versatile for office space, for training rooms, canteens, changing room facilities. The use is endless, really.
Meanwhile, Managing Director for the company, Elon Rahman, explains that only 3 persons are used to set up the units within 2 days.
The whole idea of having a portable unit that you can live in, or you can just set up an office in the middle of nowhere, to me is very convenient, and it's a very new, innovative idea. Well, since we've launched our Instagram page about 2 weeks ago, we've already amassed around 200 followers, and I get requests at least every day asking about them. So it's built up a lot of traction, definitely. In Guyana, we're now seeing a big change, and everyone's getting land, everyone needs to build, and it would definitely help people out a lot. It would definitely help people out a lot if they can just get their office in 2 days instead of having to build up a whole infrastructure just for a building that they're going to end up taking on one day. So they can find us on Instagram at Snapins Cabins or contact the number 656-1362.
Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwell.
We tell you now that Guyana on Tuesday recorded 59 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total known cases to 2,846. There are 12 patients in the COVID-19 ICU, 193 in institutional isolation, 917 in home isolation, and 87 persons in institutional quarantine. So far, 1,644 persons have recovered and 78 have died. The new cases were recorded in Region 1 with 8 new cases, Region 3 with 6 new cases, Region 4 with 39 new cases, while Regions 5 and 6 recorded 1 new case each, and Region 8, 4 cases. To date, 13,988 persons have been tested. A Washington-based firm, Seep Caribbean SME Growth Fund, has acquired majority ownership interest in Camex Restaurants, Inc. in Guyana, which will enable the fast food restaurant franchises to push its growth and expansion plans. The transaction will be completed over the coming week and was made public by a statement from the American Chamber of Commerce, AmCham Guyana, Inc. on Tuesday. Camex Restaurants, Inc. is recognized as Guyana's largest restaurant operator, boasting some 28 franchise locations spread across Guyana with 5 brands, including Church's Chicken, Dairy Queen, Pollo Tropical, Mario's Pizza, and Quiznos. Having established a presence in Guyana at a strident pace, Camex founder Terence Campbell felt it was time to bring in an international partner to drive through the next phase of growth. Campbell is expected to remain very actively involved in the business as the executive director, and Ms. Lisa Insanali will assume the role of chief operating officer. The new board of Camex Restaurants, Inc. will be chaired by the Managing Director of SEEF, Mr. Kurt Kisto, and comprised directors Terence Campbell, Jennifer Cipriani, Leo Williams, Floyd Haynes, and Zulfikar Ali. The investment in CAMEX is the first for the SEEF Fund, which was launched last October with its regional office in Kingston, Jamaica. When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bird reports along with sport. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. Starting off with some football news. Guyana's senior national men's football team, that's the Golden Jaguars, are down to face Guatemala in the first round of the 2021 Gold Cup prelims. The first ever Gold Cup draw was held on Monday evening in Miami. More in this report.
The draw for the prelims involved the 12 national teams which earned a place in the Gold Cup qualifiers through their performances in the CONCACAF Nations League group stage, which was played in September, October and November 2019. This includes the bottom-placed finishes in League A groups, the runners-up in League B groups and the winners of League C groups. The top 6 teams based on the CONCACAF ranking were preceded into matchups 1 through 6, and the next 6 were drawn from a single pot. The prelim games now are Haiti versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Guatemala versus Guyana, Trinidad versus Montserrat, Cuba versus French Guiana, Guadeloupe versus Bahamas, and Bermuda versus Barbados. After direct elimination play over 3 match days between July 2 through July 6, 2021, those teams will be reduced to a final 3 who will qualify for the Gold Cup group stage, joining the following groups. Group A, Mexico, El Salvador, Curacao, and Prelim 9. Group B, the USA, Canada, Martinique, and Prelim 7. Group C, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Suriname, and Prelim 8. And Group D, Honduras, Panama, Grenada, and guest team, Qatar. Based on the draw, should Guyana beat Guatemala, they would go on to face either Guadeloupe or Bahamas. If they win that second contest, they will qualify in Group C alongside Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Suriname. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan.
Cricket news now. Cricket West Indies on Monday evening announced that West Indies men's team will tour New Zealand later this year from November 27 to December 15 for 3 T20 internationals and 2 test matches. This follows confirmation by New Zealand Cricket that they have received their government's approval to proceed with plans to host international cricket. The tour is subject to the final COVID-19 medical protocols being approved by the Cricket West Indies Medical Advisory Committee and regional government health and aviation officials. This will be West Indies men's second international series on the COVID-19 measures following the test tour to England a few months ago. The proposed West Indies tour to New Zealand will start with the defending T20 World Cup champions facing the Black Caps at Eden Garden in Auckland for a match on the lights. The series then moves to the picturesque Bay Oval for 2 matches, the first a day game and the second on the lights. West Indies will then travel to Hamilton for the first test at Seddon Park and then south to Wellington for the second match at the historic Basin Reserve. Now, West Indies women face the ignominy of a series whitewash when they face England's women in the final of 5 T20 internationals tomorrow in Derby. The Caribbean side have struggled throughout the series and they now face the tough task of avoiding a series sweep.
West Indies assistant coach Corey Collymore spoke after the 4th game, touching on the batting effort and the lapses in the field which have cost them all series.
I think, again, we're not executing well enough as a batting unit. The intent is still not there. Deandra, again, who's shown her class, and today she was out early and also put us on the back foot. I think we need more people to come to the party, as they say. As I said before, they're just not executing the plans well enough. The plans are there. The plans were there from day one. And back to the same example I made, if I've got 3 people on the leg side, I shouldn't be getting hit through the offside. And it's as simple as that. We're not executing well enough. And then, we can't make excuses about it. This is international sport.
The 5th and final game of the series will start at 1 p.m. Caribbean time tomorrow, Wednesday, September 30. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan.
IPL news now. Sunrisers Hyderabad got their first win of IPL 2020, beating the previously unbeaten Delhi Capitals by 15 runs on Tuesday in Abu Dhabi. Sunrisers, coming into the contest after 2 defeats, posted 162 for 4 with Johnny Bairstow hitting 53. Skipper David Warner scored 45 and Kane Williamson struck 41. Kagiso Rabada and Amit Mishra picked up 2 wickets each. In reply, Delhi Capitals managed 147 for 7, with Shikhar Dhawan making 34, Rishabh Pant getting 32, and Shimron Hetmaya 21. Bowling for Sunrisers Hyderabad, Rashid Khan picked up 3 for 14, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar 2 for 25. With the defeat, Delhi Capitals dropped 1 spot down to second, with Rajasthan Royals top of the table now. Sunrisers Hyderabad moved from the bottom of the table to number 6. On Wednesday, it's Rajasthan Royals versus Kolkata Knight Riders in match 12 at 10 hours. And finally, some basketball news. The LA Lakers and Miami Heat will battle for the NBA title, with the first of a possible 7 matches starting on Wednesday at 21 hours. The Let's Bet Sport brand ambassador Roy Tony and former sport journalist Tristan Joseph made their predictions as they chat with Akeem Green.
You obviously have on the Lakers jersey, so that is a clear indication.
This is by proxy, though. This is by proxy
in these finals. But in all fairness, how much are the Lakers a strong favorite, to walk away with yet another NBA Finals title?
I think it's only right to let the Lakers fan go first.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thanks, Akeem, for having us on the show. Definitely, I think they're overwhelming favorites. I think the Lakers roster in its entirety would create a lot of mismatches for Miami Heat. I think the series is going to end in 5 games, 4-1 for the Lakers.
Similar to Tristan's position, and this is strange because I'm going to sound like a hypocrite saying this. I don't see Miami getting past the Lakers. In fact, I think this is only the second time that a 5th-seeded team from the Eastern Conference would be making it to the NBA Finals, or a team, lower ranked than fourth place. And history have a way in the NBA that it doesn't repeat itself much, and it doesn't change much either. While the Heat making it to the finals is an accomplishment by itself, because on most of the draft, or most of the charts leading up to when the postseason was announced, I can't recall seeing 5 persons giving Miami a chance. But with that being said, as Tristan said, I don't see them winning more than 1 game. Maybe two, and that's me pushing it. But I see the series ending 4-1 because the simple fact, because of LeBron and Anthony Davis, which the Heat, despite Bam Adebayo having a superb postseason, I don't see him really matching up well with AD inside.
Lakers and the Miami Heat are the first team in history, to make the NBA Finals matchup, where neither team would have made the playoffs the year before. So focusing firstly on the Lakers, how much improved has the Lakers been? I think obviously AD and LeBron will be a big factor in that, Tristan.
Yeah, definitely. It all starts with LeBron James. He's the leader. He's the talent of the team, and then of course AD is great on defense, and he's definitely one of the best inside-out scorers. But of course, I think the role players in this playoff really came to the fore. You saw what Rajon Rondo could do. KCP is hitting at least 50% of his field goals, which wasn't happening in the season. So with KCP hitting consistently from 3, and Danny Green hitting timely shots as well, they're playing good defense, and I think they're pushing the pace very well. And the best part about the team, I think they match up with any style of play very well. Whether it was against the Rockets with small ball, they downsized. Whether it was against Jokic and the Nuggets, they upsized. And I think they have so much diversity in the team that it's hard to really come out on top over them.
Just can't look at Dragic and Jimmy Butler. You have to look at what the Heat has coming off to the bench in Hero as well, and also what they have in the factor of Bam Adebayo, who was, he just had 1 bad game, I think, in the series against the Boston Celtics. He had one really bad game. But I want to go back and touch on something that you asked, Tristan, with regards to both the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers not making the postseason last year. In all fairness to LeBron and the Lakers, reaching the playoff when he first landed in LA wasn't really an objective. It was from like his second season, because he knew that the Lakers rather had to make some adjustments to their roster for him to be able to make the postseason. So they got rid of Brandon Ingram and Bob to make way for a good roster. And they landed AD. I mean, the Miami Heat team really built last season to make a run in the postseason this year. A lot of persons weren't really paying attention to them, so to speak, in that regard. But if you look at the team and how well they would have played and they're exposed and how well he would have coached that team, they were actually built for the postseason. I mean, heading into the series, they admitted last night, well, after winning the series against the Boston Celtics, that they don't have anything to lose. They are the underdogs in the series. Quite frankly, a lot of persons have written them off to making his way. I never expected Goran Dragic to really step up this much, even though I know the Slovenian is a really, really bad dude. But I never expected him to really lift the profile of his game in the postseason that much. Bama Adebayo has been playing as if he was told he's going to get a Supermax contract after this season. And Jimmy Butler actually found a home, because if you notice, when he left the Bulls, had a lot to talk about his attitude. Then he ended up on the Timberwolves, and they didn't really know how to really fit him in. And then Miami landed him, and they were supposed to really put a really strong and really nice lineup around him, and he's been the vocal point for that team as well. So it's going to make a good series. It's going to be a good storyline. In fact, I'm a betting person. I'm going to bet on Miami Heat taking game 1, or if possible, game 2.
MVP picks for the final.
Anthony Davis.
That's a tough one. Listen,
Anthony Davis.
LeBron or AD, I think. Yeah, I would go with AD, because I think he would have the better chance in terms of on the defensive end, stopping guys and being able to feed off of LeBron's energy, because he's going to get a lot of open space to work with because of LeBron. Maybe LeBron could win it as well. I think it's a good storyline for LeBron, but it's hard to pick between the two. But either guy, I don't see a problem with it. But I think AD might be able to win it.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.